days, I do occasionally hit the little vapey pen, and I've rolled a roach joint, right? I'll smoke those. I try to smoke those outside because those smell extra stinky. So here we are looking at my apartment. I want to show you some things. Look, see how nice my apartment is? It's not like I'm not a hoarder. Everything's organized. I do have an abnormal amount of stuff. V2k right now is going off. V2k from some screenshots I just took that I've yet to verify. I hate reporting information that I don't verify, but it sounds real. Like I've been looking for the source of this stuff for quite some time now, and I have previously come across a document stating that the United States government holds a patent on the voice to skull technology. And I may have misstated. I don't. I believe that the army is a division of the government, so I would not have misstated it. But somebody somewhere with ties to our U.S. government, whether it be a contractor, whatever, a vendor, whatever you want to call it, owns a patent to the technology that's used for V2K, voice to skull. And some of the things that I'm discovering, I think back in the 70s when they first realized what they could do with it, it was just initially tested on subjects to see if they could hear lists of words. I hear more than a list of words. I can hear an actual conversation. Um, I'm telling you right now that it's not schizophrenia. Uh, it's not psychosis from smoking weed. It's not psychosis from not smoking weed. It is I make the conscious choice of whether I want to respond to it or not. They are more likely to get a response from me when I'm smoking weed because weed lowers my inhibition similar to how alcohol does, and then I say things that I really don't care. When I'm not smoking weed, the the consciousness level of what I project out of my mouth is higher. I'm more conscious of what I actually say. So without smoking weed, there's less chance you're going to see me outside acting crazy, saying shit, the truth to people who need to hear it. Um, you're not really likely to even see me go outside at all because one of the things that helps me with the anxiety that I have surrounding going out of the house is marijuana. So, not having weed since was like Thursday or something, Wednesday, Thursday, has allowed me to go through my apartment and look at things a little bit more deeply. And in that deep dive look, I realized that dust should not be growing on the bottom of surfaces. Like surface dust is exactly what it is, right? So when you see areas that have dust and it's on the underside, that leads me to believe it's mold growth. So this is a really tricky thing. I've reported it since 2022 to my landlord, but it's more than mold growth. It's like integral structure of the building. There's certain parts of the building that I continuously point out because I should not have like wrinkly or warped drywall. There's a part in my hall where each day I walk through it, I can feel the integrity of the building, the structure of the building. It's declining. It makes more noise every time I walk through there. So there are a number of things, like in my bathroom, the area where the toilet seat connections connect to the wall, all of that drywall is rotting and it's disintegrating. Yet when they came back to look in my bathroom and do repairs for the flood, they didn't address any of that stuff. I had asked them previously to restore my bathroom back to what it was like when I moved in. If they're going to have maintenance men and handymen come in here and fix things and I have to be home for this, I want them to fix it to where it is as if it were new. Uh, Instead of doing that, they put an event which allows whatever mold spores that are in the space between my unit and the unit above me to still enter into my bathroom. But the funny thing is, there's not it's not really mold growth, I will say, in my bath, at least not visible. My bathroom, I have had to take everything out in order to steam clean the entire bathroom, and that could be the reason why there's not mold actually live growing in there. But it's more in areas where, say, the spores have gotten that I have not steamed cleaned and that wind is not often touched. So like the area around my closet, I don't really go in the closet. I have Shelves where I have clothes that are folded, and I pull my clothes mostly from those shelves. And then I have an area where I have clothes that are hanging, and I pull clothes off of that. So I don't really have the need to go in and disturb parts of my closet. And in the area where my closet is, between my closet and my bathroom, that's the little hallway I have. That's the area where I think there may be something going on with either this, like, leaking from the apartment above me that has a bad soul plate, or my soul plate's bad, or both are bad, and that means that the building is shifting. And I want to show you really quick. I don't want to show you, but I'll show the county when they get here, once the rental company doesn't do anything about it. There is there's some other stuff that make me believe that the integrity of the building has been compromised. So if they've done an all unit inspection, they should be asking for these things. This is something that I noticed actually after the all unit inspection. So I'll bring it to the attention, but I hate being that tenant that's just like, hey, fix this. Hey, fix it. Because for the 10 years that I lived here, or what is it? It's like 8 years prior to the new management company taking over. I didn't have to do that. And when I did have to do it, it got fixed. And I didn't feel like I was an annoyance because there wasn't a laundry list of things that needed to be fixed. Now, every time I contact them, it usually has something to do with water damage. And the damage has always been created on occasions when it's intended to make it look like it comes from my apartment. And what I mean by that was August of 2024, my bathtub, and I have it all on video, I've posted it. My bathtub was overflowed while I was out of town. Um, when I was out of town, I've described it numerous times. You could look through all the videos. You can watch the video of the tub flooding. It crested at like midnight. I didn't get any of the notifications of motion in my apartment until around 6 a.m. because I was sleeping. And then I go back and I trace it, and then I'm trying to get a hold. As of 6 a.m., I tried getting a hold of the on-site manager. He didn't make entry into my building until 8 a.m. So that's at least 2 hours of water overflowing with nobody doing anything to stop it. And that's what I mean by it's intended to make it look like the damage came from inside of my apartment. During that same time, he put a notice on my door saying that we're not allowed to have washer machines in here. It doesn't matter that I had one in here because it was disconnected. The washer machine was not actively plugged in, and there's no water connection to it. So it would have been impossible for that to be caused by an appliance that I had in here. Furthermore, I cut the cord on the washer machine to show that I've complied with their request to avoid getting evicted. This is proof that they've been trying to evict me since 2024 and before. So in addition to all of that, I had my dirty clothes on the floor in my bathroom because I wasn't using a laundry basket. I was just tossing my dirty clothes in the floor in my bathroom because I wash them. And when the tub overflowed, it ruined several of my clothing. Any of the clothes, the towels, anything that was on the floor was contaminated with the sewage water that had backed up from the bathtub. And what the on-site manager did with that stuff, like, I had asked him, put it in the kitchen, leave it somewhere, like, it needs to dry out. I'm out of town. I'm not going to be back for a certain number of hours. And within that amount of hours, based on my apartment being completely sealed, that would turn into a stinky ass, moldy ass mess. So he put those clothes, some of the clothes, into the washer machine. None of that stuff was in the washer machine. Why would you put that stuff in the washer machine? Because he wanted to make it look like the moldy clothes and the water and the shit. Like, he took pictures. I'm almost positive he took pictures of that stuff in the washer machine prior to it being laid out in my kitchen floor so it could dry. So that's one instance. That's the first original flood that created whatever situation is going on down there, the rot, the whatever pests, whatever. Hours on end. They did not get a snake in my bathtub until noon. So that's 12 hours of water damage that nobody did anything about, despite me having called about it. That's the first incident. Then this year they tried again really hard to do the same thing. And this is because I've been speaking out about being harassed. So if I stop speaking out about being harassed, it gets worse. The only time they ever stop is when I go on and make points that are irrefutable in court. So I'm guessing now the reason why I've had 2 or 3 peaceful days is because I have some kind of evidence against them that they would lose if we were to go to court. Uh, the v2k has started back up again because I've realized there was a step I was going to take in order to control the situation to the best of my ability, but I have to hold off on that step because I was told by Los Angeles County Department of Health not to clean the mold. So I can't clean it. So for the next 30 days, and the reason there's so many messages in my chat right now is because you don't want me talking about this. You started with the v2k. You should know every time you start with the v2k, I'm going to come on and speak about whatever it is that I'm thinking about on my mind. Stop using that as a means of harassment. It does nothing for you. All it did is make me realize that the UV light sanitizers that I ordered that should be here tomorrow is not something I should use just yet because I need to prove the mold in my apartment. So all your v2k from 11 and a half minutes ago that led up to me posting this video was ensure that if I do use that UV light, I put it in spaces where I'm hoping there's no mold, where I have not seen it yet. Any places where I see it, I have to make sure the UV light does not damage the mold that's there because I need it to continue to grow so that I can prove my case. Regardless, I don't care. I have it, I don't. It doesn't matter. I've already chalked up the entire contents of my apartment as a loss. So there's nothing in here. Nothing is salvageable. These are not salvageable because ABS plastic, despite its cleanability, is still porous. It's all trash. Do you want to know how much I spent on Legos? I can tell you it is the amount of stuff that they have to replace should the county find that to be mold that I've been complaining about since 2022 is more than what my apartment insurance will cover. I don't know. Is that like the limit? Should I increase my apartment rental insurance? But if they cover what my apartment insurance max is, I'm fine with that. And then I could just walk away from this. But I don't want to pay a dollar. If you guys have taken away this much stuff from me, I'm not paying a dollar and I'll live here until it kills me. That's it's not spiteful. It's letting people know you cannot take advantage of people. And we will expose systems who do. We will expose scammers. We will expose frauds. Any of that stuff. If I've ever done anything in my life that's illegal, I can talk about it because me talking about it, I don't care if it, what do you call it, convicts me or whatever. You need to be. You shouldn't be doing crimes. If you talk about them and you get convicted because you decided to talk about it, serve your time. Pay your time. Pay up for the fucking shit you've done. That's it. So, I don't mind. But what I do mind is being set up to look like I'm a criminal when I'm not. So I'm going to call out everybody along the way. And that's why we've had so much fun doing this. That's why so many people know who I am. That's why... Where was I yesterday? When I went to Home Depot, I had a celebrity viewer. Somebody looked at me with the eyes of, they watch me. Like, they were so excited to be in the presence of me, the celebrity. That was the look that they gave. Honest to fucking God. I'm here looking crazy. I haven't taken a shower yet today, right now, but I will show you. Inside, we're not growing mold. I'm at 49%. In the hallway, it's about 40%. 88 degrees, but it feels like it's 70 because there's not enough humidity to make me feel uncomfortable. Right now, that says 61 ppb because we're reading it backwards. So, the only way you'll get mold is if you can't control your humidity. So I feel free to go out in public because mold is the naturally occurring substance in public. That leads more, so we can get into the bigger picture. More of the mind games, the isolation, the Darvo, more of this this mind control thing, whether this is real or not. There really is the potential for there to be mold. There really is mold because I've seen it and I've cleaned it. I cleaned it in time before it had taken over my apartment. Within 2 days, if I had not spotted that, my whole apartment would be filled with purple dots. So I say all this to say, um, these people are extremely mad that every time they do something to fuck up my life, I catch it within the right amount of time to save myself. And every time I catch it, it goes down on a long list of shit that they've done to other people to try to fuck up their lives, which then leads towards conspiracy or cult activity. So, if you're wondering why all these comments are here, the more that I talk, the more that I get into this, they try to, uh, what is it? They try to redirect my thoughts. They try to make me lose my train of thought. They don't want me to talk about it, because whenever you see somebody make a comment, whatever it is that I'm talking about is very important. And that person who's commenting may have connections or ties to it. So, um, like, for example, we did the thing yesterday when I was leaving. 2 days ago, when I was leaving my apartment, we had a person who tried to gaslight a video camera by first approaching me as if they were helping me bring my cart down the stairs. But this person was already downstairs and walking up. So that didn't make sense for a couple reasons, right? All I needed for that guy to do was move out the way. He was sitting on the stairs, and I didn't want to say a word to him. So this leans towards the voice file. This is all mental manipulation, whether the voice file is real or not. A voice file would really be necessary if I am, in fact, part of a federal investigation. If I'm not part of a federal investigation, it is for mind control purposes. What else is for mind control purposes? Trying to make me feel like I am spreading mold into a community. You may have given me mold. The people around me know that you did it. They're part of the problem. There's no, if you know that you gave me mold, you cannot make me feel like I should not walk outside because of it. Like, this is all a head game. Uh, Again, like I said, mold is naturally occurring. If you ride the bus, there's a lot of people who don't know what mold looks like, who don't have access to internet, who don't understand how dangerous mold is, that ride on the bus and sit on those seats. One of the reasons I don't sit on the seat is because I'm not trying to bring that shit into my apartment, which is one of the reasons they did that. They're like, this bitch brings her own seat onto the bus, right? And I'm sure you've seen pictures somewhere or comments on my own videos even where they try to make it look like I'm the perpetrator when I'm sitting in my seat on the bus minding my business, when they've gone out of their way to match the outfit that I'm wearing. I can't wait for my day in court, but there's just so much stuff. I don't know how to make it. It's more likely to be several series of books than it will ever be a court case, because there is so much involved. There are so many stories to tell, so many incidents, so many things that I can very clearly remember that should not have happened to me. My teeth being the first part of it. Before making a conscious choice not to continue with the bridge service from a dentist that I experienced an extreme amount of trauma at, my mom, between my mother and I, a good $50,000 has been put into making my smile beautiful, right? From all the cavities, the restorations, the repairs, crowns, bridges, whatever. I haven't had a bridge yet. I was supposed to get one, and that's why they took out extra teeth. So, between all of that, I could have had a really nice car that's paid off. Even if it's a class, even if I got that car, say I got it in my freshman year of high school, even if I had a 99 something, $50,000 car that's paid off and owned, that would be better than the situation that's going on in my mouth right now. So there's that. There are other victims that they have made look like they're drug addicts. Just now I saw a picture of a Instagram model that has now become homeless. What that tells me, it's a few things. Instagram model means your mind is easily manipulated by being the center of attention, right? Like, you made yourself famous through a social media platform. That same social media platform is what made you homeless. That's why I'm not on here. I'm not on here trying to get famous. I don't need approval. I don't need validation. Everything I do on the internet, as far as social media is concerned, is for documenting purposes. I stopped trying to use social media to make friends or be friendly or to be social. Uh, what is it? Probably 2021, 2021, 2022. Wherever you see me, stop posting like photos of myself. Because I used to post like a daily photo of myself because that was my mental. It was like when I see other people who do it, and you scroll on their page and you look at their Instagram, and every picture is the same fucking photo of them, but it's a different day, maybe a different pose, different outfit. They might be eating different food, very seldomly doing anything. Those people have mental issues. I don't want to be one of them. If you go and look at your Instagram, and it's all, when you look at it and it's all photos where you look like you are dying to get someone to give you a like you're requesting approval from your peers, that's weird. Are you really enjoying life, or are you doing that for the clout? So um that's what we're dealing with here. So it's unfortunate that this girl was able to promote herself, right? It's awesome that she was able to promote herself so much into uh, becoming an Instagram model, having a following. But at the same time, what I want to tell you that did was it exposed a lot of insecure people around her, people who followed her so that they could become like her. Whether she knows it or not, she went through the same thing that I'm going through, but I never had the desire for attention. Well, I, before, when I was in high school, when I first got on social media, that's what I wanted, was attention. Everybody did. That's why you get on social media. You want someone to look at you. Um, it has come now to the point where I only post on social media to document. That's what they want. They want my social media to look crazy. And I document when I'm provoked. So that means that there is somebody within the vicinity around me, I'd say even within 50 feet of me, who is doing something that has caused me to come on to here and explain to you what my situation is again. Not like you haven't seen the 250 other videos that I've posted. Again, I'm just documenting that this is still continuing. It didn't go away. I didn't magically uh, start thinking like a normal person again, because that's impossible with what they've done with the cognitive training, cognitive dissonance, cognitive recognition, cognitive pattern training, whatever you want to call it. With everything they've done, it's going to be a very long time before I get to return to my normal thoughts, if ever. Um, It is not that I think everyone's out to get me. I still enjoy going outside. I still enjoy my experiences. You cannot gaslight me. So yesterday's experience, what was it? It was two people on the stairs, and I have it recorded on my GoPro. The first person, it was a set of two lady men's that came up. I don't know. They were male resembling ladies. They could have been females. They could have been males. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't care. I'm just telling you what I saw. Very tall, skinny, lean females that maybe possibly were working, or it's just a hot day. I don't know. Little clothes, lots of legs, I guess you could say. And both of them came up blocking the stairwell while offering help. No, I don't want your help. I stood at the top of the steps. At first, when you see the video, and I don't know if I caught the whole video because the canopy to my cat's stroller was in the way, but when they first walk in the lobby and they witness my mask, because I have to leave the building with a mask now to avoid, I guess, my neighbors getting the notification. What is it, like the notification that I'm in the hallway so they can come out and harass me. So if I leave with my mask on, I've noticed I don't have as many encounters with these people in the hallway. They want me to continue to wear the mask throughout the day, but I'm not ashamed. I'm not shamed. I'm not afraid. I wear the mask to avoid them in the hallway. I don't wear the mask because I don't want to see people. Sometimes, if I don't want to see you, I'll put the mask down, but mostly it's to protect my face from the sun. Do you see my beautiful skin? Um, Before it was the mask, I had a Sportbrella umbrella that I used. I won't say I'm sun sensitive, I'm sun conscious. I don't wear sunscreen. I don't put chemicals on my skin because that's what makes you guys do this crazy shit. All you guys are chock full of chemicals trying to figure out who you are, and I know who I am, and I have no chemicals on me. Um, Fungus is natural. I'm okay with mold. It's funny, right? Fungus is natural. I'm okay with it because it's natural. Um, and there's a method to the madness. Of course, things can always mutate, which is why I try not to add chemicals, which is why I have not used the cobalt silica yet, because I don't want to make it resistant for when they do try to come and clean. I think I may save the cobalt silica for after this gets cleaned up and just stick to the orange one for now. Um, but the orange silica alerts me to environments in my house. So right now I have a bag of the silica in with a stack of copy paper that I've purchased before it got extremely hot. And I haven't been too worried about this copy paper. Uh, it's like a special copy paper from Japan. It's a low GSM. So low GSM means it doesn't wick as much moisture as other papers. So I'm just sitting here thinking it's safe, but knowing that the whole stack is out, right? Which means each exposed edge has the ability to absorb water. Every surface that's visible has the ability to absorb water. So when I got my silica, one of the first things that I did, I put a bag in with the paper and I put it in a sealed plastic bag, mostly sealed. I think there's still air that can get in and out, but it's mostly sealed. If I did this without the silica in the bag, that all of that paper would have mold on it. So that shows you how important air circulation is. You cannot completely seal off your apartment, otherwise your whole apartment will just turn into one big mold spore. So right now I have another test to see how long it takes for the orange to turn to green while it's in the sealed bag. The first test, it pulled out an extra moisture, enough for the whole entire bag of orange silica to turn green. Speaking of, I actually have to go. You can reactivate it. That's what's the great part. So I have to go check on my silica right now. That may be the reason why my humidity is so low. I have my oven on at 250 degrees for probably another hour or so while I dry the silica. And then I put it back in places where there's a lack of airflow, because I want to make sure I'm removing any moisture from the air where the air is not flowing. And then I have to keep doing this for the next 30 days. It's going to be like 35 days, right? Because however long it takes for the mail to get there is 30 days from the day after the day on the letter. And the day after the expiration date is the first date I can go back to the county, contact them, and ask to make my appointment for them to come out. So within 30 days, I'm going to document with pictures what the underside of this wood board I have above my head when I work looks like. It's crazy. I'm sitting directly under what I believe to be millions of mold spores, and I gotta work there every day. So fingers crossed that I don't suffer neurological damage from this. I still feel fine. I still feel as intelligent, if not more intelligent, than when this began. Like I said, your body self-medicates. So the reason I have stopped consuming the bullshit, the foods that are readily available that are filled with preservatives, the reason I've stopped consuming those is because I need the superfoods in order to survive. Superfoods are counteracting whatever effects the mold has on me. So if they're damaging my bloodstream and flow to my brain, the superfoods that I consume, natural stuff from the earth, is what is reversing any effects of the mold. So in the next 30 days, I will only get healthier in order to survive. That's just how the universe works, unless you get in line with these low vibrational souls and start doing things like nitrous oxide, methamphetamine, fentanyl. Once you start doing those things, there's no reason for you to be alive anymore. Once you turn to consciously consuming substances that are on a schedule that those ones are on, there's no reason for you to be here anymore. When you are doing things like psilocybin, mushrooms, fungus, that's what's in my apartment. So this is like an experiment on hallucinogens. So another thing I have to do research on is spilled milk. Let's talk about spilled milk, racism, and why there's this big connection between milk and racism in white people. Is it that the mold that's created when you spill milk and then are not able to properly clean it Is that the mold that they have put into my house? Is that what creates black mold? Um, Spilled milk is probably your worst enemy, and I wonder, like, where that's saying don't cry over spilled milk. You should cry over spilled milk if you don't clean that shit up in time and you have a bad humidity situation. I think that. So I have so much more research to do. I'm very thankful that I was able to cold turkey. I'll say cold turkey quit smoking. Cold turkey quit buying weed. How about that? Because instead of buying weed, I had to purchase uh, like air circulation tools, cleaning tools. So, like, if whoever is telling all these people to gang up against me is to tell them that I'm a crackhead and that I'm just doing bad shit to people, that's not true. I keep to myself. The amount of time I spent building these fucking Legos should tell you that. Uh, I keep to myself. The colors, right? If you were to come in and look at my apartment, it's like filled with colorful pens, markers, crayons. It looks like a motherfucking little kid's house. The only reason people are trying to make me look the way that it feels, like how I don't know how to describe it. Like when that celebrity came in, or when I got the celebrity stare from the lady at Home Depot yesterday. Um, oh, and at Home Depot yesterday. So I made a mistake, and when I went shopping, I went there originally to get this one specific. It's an oscillating fan. Um, and I can only use the oscillating fan when my shit's under 50. Otherwise, it just has to, like, I just got to deal with it. Oscillating fan outside of my apartment is when I use it if it's over 50 to introduce cold air. I have to put cold air into my apartment. It's the dehumidifier that I use to get the humidity under 50. And then once it's under 50, they're not actively growing mold spores. That's when I turn the oscillating fan back on. Because if my apartment is like, I have to live like this for the next 30 days, So all I can do, vacuum, I have to vacuum. My windows, I have to keep them shut because external dust is what creates most of the problem. And I believe external dust may be the result of my neighbors having mold and not knowing. No, not forcing to sobriety. I can still go get weed if I want to. I still have enough money to go buy weed, but it's price per ounce. It's too expensive. I'm not forced into sobriety, forced into happiness and living a life that doesn't require me to live beyond my means. People think I've been very good about my budget. If I've been able to live check to check for 30 years, I am an extreme budget queen. In the first, I'd say 15 years, it took a lot of getting used to, and that's where I fucked up. That's where credit card use fucked me up. That's where incorrectly filing taxes and not knowing fucked me up. And I've had that to the tune of like 16,000. Credit cards is like $80,000 worth of fuck up. Misfiling your taxes went from like, I think it was $8,000 at the time, is probably around $10,000 if they're still charging me interest on it right now, 10 or 12. So these are not things that I think you can dodge. I do know that in life, you're born, you die, and you have to pay taxes. I'm not evading taxes. So I also have knowledge that if you've overpaid on your taxes and the government owes you money, you don't have to file. Right? If you don't file, they keep that shit. So I'm praying, hoping and praying the one tax year that I still have left to file, that it was an overage so that it doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things. But I still do continue to file. I filed 25. I filed 26. I got to get my cat out the kitchen because she might have found a friend. And that comes from the structure support in my building being off. But again, I'm in here. We're chilling. And I'm about to go run some errands. But after I dry my silica, after I secure the humidity in my apartment at lower than 50, And then after I confirm that my cat's going to be okay with the temperature. Um, so I don't know. We're just living. This is how you have to live in LA now. I was watching a video of someone who posted about the reasons why they left Los Angeles. I don't feel the need to leave. I feel that Los Angeles still has everything I came here for. I didn't come here to make friends with people. I'm not here to be famous. I'm not here to be popular. Uh, I no longer feel like I need to share with you my reasons for being here because of the amount of people that try to attack you for those reasons. All I can say is that um, wealthy people have, for years, for centuries even, used underprivileged, underclassed as their henchmen. They find a miserable person, they offer them money because misery thinks money solves everything, and then they use that person for bad until the point where they get that person arrested because they don't care, because that person means nothing to them, and they just go find another person. So next time you get offered some money that seems too good to be true, next time you get put in the spotlight as like, if you know your ability is not where these people around you are gaslighting you, like, you can gaslight in both ways. You can gaslight someone who's very talented and skilled and make them try to make them feel less than, and you can gaslight a dumbass person into a position of power. Now, I don't know. I'm going to do a stop and a pause and a space, right? Because I'm going to say a name, and this person has a lot of money, but I'm not too sure about where their brains are. Sam Altman. And when you look at the people who put him in power, could this be an example of what I'm talking about? Right? So if you want to control things, you just find yourself someone who could stand up and do the job until the job gets exposed. And then shit's going to come out in the wash. Right? So I wonder, was he a gate kid? If he was a gate kid, everything I'm saying is 100% related. If Sam Altman was a gate kid, everything that I've said on my YouTube channel so you'll get to the bottom of it eventually. Like the whole New Mexico thing. You know where I had my brother pulled off a bus? I had my brother pulled off a bus in New Mexico. And then after I did that, ask me, why did I have him pulled off a bus? And look at my chrome hearts. Aren't they so nice, everybody? Look. Crackheads don't wear chrome hearts, by the way. These are old too, so it doesn't matter if you're like planning on stealing shit from me. The lenses are scratched. They're old. It's clear acrylic. It's not really worth much. It's a titanium frame though. That's good though. You could use that for something. But anyways, like I was saying, not these particular glasses, but I've always worn chrome hearts for like 15 years, and my brother has once taken a pair off my face while I was standing at the Hollywood Western Metro. And while he was holding my glasses, he went like this, and he said, "I'll break these." And that shows you where his mental is at. But anyways, like I said, going back to why I had him pulled off a bus. The last time I saw him, before I had him pulled off a bus, that's exactly what happened. And then he spent some time in prison in Oklahoma. And then when he was paroled, I was, being a sister, speaking with him, doing the best that I could for him, allowed him to get a phone number in my name because I had a family plan, and I allowed him to get a cell phone, which he then used Instagram to go and harass all kinds of people. Like, if you pull up his history on Instagram, I'm sure somebody's got a screenshot of some shit somewhere. He did the most crazy shit on Instagram when it comes to people in positions of power. Like, he went off the wall, overboard, haywall, making threats towards people. And right before he came out, right before I had him pulled off the bus, that's what he was doing. To the point, I don't know if he had started using drugs, because he was in a halfway house. He was able to get his shit together enough so that he got out the halfway house, and some lady let him live with him. And then the lady had to start calling my mom, complaining like, oh, he didn't pay his rent. My mom's paying his rent for him. Not, he didn't pay his rent. Oh, this is happening and this is happening. And then he would call her and be like, I need new tires for my car. And just like living the life of a spoiled brat, drug addict brat. Whereas before he got arrested the last time, he was working for Bar S. He had a job, a good job, and had his shit together. He had a BMW, a motorcycle. Like, his life seemed like it was going well. So at some point between him having successful gainful employment at Bar S and now, he encountered somebody who does drugs and had him get into it. And that's what got him picked up. So eventually he served his time, right? And as all criminals who serve their time, you're supposed to give them a chance to reintegrate to society, let them get back to doing normal shit. But instead of doing that from the halfway house, he lost his mind even more. And eventually he landed himself on the streets. He made himself homeless. And within like a week, it's like a good week, couple weeks period of time, you'll see his state of mind change from, it wasn't, I can't even say what it was before. He was in the wrong place before, but at least he had a roof over his head, to him being on the street and watching. I was literally watching him spend his last dollars. And I wanted more than anything to save him from himself, to stop. Like, if you know that you only have a certain amount of money left and that's supposed to get you through the rest of your life, watching someone buy all these material possessions when you know that they need a roof over their head, they need a meal in their stomach, that was heartbreaking for me. So whatever I did within my power, I did it. And if that's against the law, I'll own up to that when you bring me to court. We can face it then. But as he continued his way out to California, he continued posting videos on his Instagram, and that's how I was able to get him pulled off the bus in New Mexico. Now, mind you, I'm very intelligent. I do believe my brother is very intelligent, but manipulative, because he comes across as an idiot. So that could have been very well been his intention, to get pulled off the bus in New Mexico. And he could have set the situation up perfectly. He posted a video of him boarding the bus, and in that video it showed the number of the bus. And at that time, I took the number of the bus and I sent it to my dad, and I had my dad handle the rest of it. Because my brother, one of the reasons my brother was put into jail was because he had destroyed a vehicle of my dad's. So if we're talking about like violence, and I've never done anything violent to anybody. The closest I've ever gotten to violence is raising my voice. That's not violent. They're trying to make me look violent, which is why it's not the reason I carry a stool. I carry a stool because I have a bad back and I want to sit down, and I don't want to sit down on the ground or on a public chair or in a public place. So I carry my own stool with me. I've noted that the stool has come in handy in regards to this public reporting system about threats to the community, because there are times when, let's say I have smoked weed and I go out and I have my monologues with myself and I discuss all the stuff that's going on in my mind, which is not illegal to do. I will sometimes get, some of them are local community residents and some of them are people who are actually involved in this. I will sometimes have them tell me like, oh, we're going to call somebody on you, or their reports that they make back. Safe and Sane was one of the last ones that I had heard about. And that may have something to do with the fact that I was sitting in a chair, and you can't say that I'm unsafe if I'm sitting. I'm not a threat if I'm sitting. But if I'm standing up, that risks the potential of being a threat. So if I have to carry my fucking chair into my apartment attached to my ass in order to keep a safe and sane rating, I will. Self-defense is not violence. I will violently self-defend myself if that's what you're looking for. But I will make sure that there's a very clear aggressor. And that includes people who yell at me from inside a building when I'm not doing anything to them. So if you want to set up a situation, you have already set up a perfect one. Um, I already have videos of your friends shoving their hands in my face as if they're going to do something to me. Uh, so if it's self-defense you want, um, I'm not above it. I'm not afraid of it. Uh, Another thing I want to say, in addition to the soul plate along this windowsill where I sleep at night, uh, there is dust that I'm not able to clean, which leads me to believe it's mold. This is some of the stuff that I reported to the county health department. Um, I'm not able to remove it with general cleaning. I've dusted this whole shelf. I've dusted every single brick of every single one of these Legos. So that's how I know I'm not able to remove the spots that are stuck on this shelf. And when I do my little AI research, thanks to AI, I don't trust everything AI, but I do believe that it can offer quick resolutions should you be looking for them, that you can then go on to further research and fact check as you need to. But it leads me to believe that like all of the gaslighting and funny jokes that they've made about the weed block, like the protective barrier, have something to do with the issues in my apartment. So they want to put me in the right direction. So let's get the barrier on the sill barrier right here that should be fully intact. Let's get that inspected, because I have a feeling that these spots are appearing on the interior of my apartment due to that sill, the sill plastic having disintegrated. This is like a 100-year-old building. If they've never fixed it, it's time. So I just need somebody to come and say that that's what they need to do instead of trying to force me to move out or evict me. They don't want to pay me $27,000 because I've lived here for 10 years. Then they should have addressed it in my 3rd year living here. It is a funny thing to wait this long knowing the building is in disrepair, because co-adapting it for Section 8 tenants, what do you do then? You get tenants who are not going to complain because they may be doing something that they don't want you to come in there for. That's how you make a building into a slum building. That's how you will change a regular building that has full rent paying tenants into a fully state subsidized building that is in disrepair. So that's why the county has to come. And then not only, if my apartment is in this condition and I pay full rent and I take care of it to the best of my ability, they're going to look at all of your apartments. So I have so much fun doing all the fucking mind game shit that you do. Like when I walk in my kitchen, how it sounds like you're doing Destructo up there. It sounds like they tore a wall down in their apartment and rebuilt it incorrectly. That's what it sounds like when I walk in my kitchen. And then not only does it sound like, you can see it. In the wall between my bathroom and my kitchen, there's it's like folded drywall that looks like it had severe water damage before, or consistent water damage, but just not enough to make it soaking wet. So that's there. That would create an awful mold situation. And then another area that's like prime central location in my apartment, in the hallway. So it's the hallway, the bathroom, and the kitchen. The whole entire west side of the wall, east side of my apartment, has to be rebuilt. West side too, if you include the window that I have to sleep against. Let's read this. The other day you posted a vid and it showed your full YouTube name, and I thought you changed it to Chair after the thrifting find. No. I don't change that. I am who I am. I'm not trying to be anybody different. I will say I did have fun one time with changing changing my YouTube name when not YouTube, my Instagram name, when somebody I believe that is part of your network came to harass me by adding me onto a list of what I believe now to be other targeted individuals. I noticed a pattern of people who kind of look like me, and And then I realized who it was that had added me. And it was a person that I had had sexual relations with. And then we proceeded to have conversation. If you're really good at what you do, you can pull this conversation either from the account that I used to change my name into a name that he wanted, or my actual account. But regardless, this guy had his Instagram name taken, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe they want me to look like I am King Savage 323. I'm not. The only reason I had that name is for fucking paper trail, because I knew that this shit was something bigger than what it really is. So if you go in, if something happens to me ever, go look at that King Savage. First of all, it's a private profile. You won't be able to see it unless you're like really good with the hacky stuff. King Savage 323 is a profile that I created after being harassed by somebody who's part of this network of harming females. If you go and look at this list of people that he tried to add me to, almost guaranteed you're going to find other victims. Some may have already been unalived. Another victim I know of, the reason I say know of is because my nosy ass, when I was on the bus one day being overtly stalked by people, there was this one kid who was next to me on his phone looking up criminal records for a lady named Brianna. He was actively searching everything he could find on his phone for a girl named Brianna. Now, I wonder if there's a girl named Brianna who has either recently passed away or is experiencing the same stuff that I described. Because I believe Brianna was the next closest victim. Like, they can choose anybody, right? I'm just the most fun because I react in the way that I react. So I think that the next person that you'll probably see stuff like this from, and maybe depending on their IQ, they will understand or they may not understand what is happening. But I think there's someone out there who's also a victim named Brianna. I didn't catch her last name. I just saw the kid searching on his phone, looking for her criminal history. He had some kind of special app that gave him access to some of this stuff. And I believe he got off near the Fusion Center in Santa Monica, on Santa Monica Boulevard in La Brea. I think that there's a Fusion Center over there. So who knows? This is just things, this might not be true. This is just me speculating. But if it is found out that there really is a Fusion Center around there, all these people that I report, especially in that area, as being informants or harassers, they are. Another place, the downtown LA Target, there's an FBI field office over there. That's another area I think that there's a Fusion Center. I don't know if it's the same thing, if it's related. But that's another area I've been harassed overtly by what appeared to be a homeless man, a transient, who told me, they don't want you here. I don't give a fuck who doesn't. If somebody doesn't want me here, they can come and tell me to my face. I don't know who you are. So you telling me that they as in people I don't know, don't want me here, does nothing for me. God wants me here. That's why I'm here. That's why I woke up today. So that's it. That's it for today, because I had to turn my fan down so I could make this video, and humidity's back up at 51%. So I got to turn the fan back up. I'll see you later.